Me sound really powerful. I love the way I sound through these headphones. What is happening, booth junkies? Mike Delgadio here, back with another video on home studio setup for voiceover. And we're going to be talking about headphones today. And we're going to do a review of these headphones right here. These are the Sony MDR 7506 headphones. And we're going to see, are they any good for voiceover? These headphones are renowned. You see them literally everywhere. They're great headphones, and I don't like them. Sorry. And we're going to talk all about why. And we're going to kick off this series with me trying to help you hear how these headphones change the audio. So I think I've got it worked out, and we're going to get a little help from this guy over here, my assistant. We're going to try and give you a sense of how the headphones, how studio headphones work and what you can expect from them. So I started off with, I don't like them. I kind of love them and I kind of hate them. I'm very polarized on the 7506s. I think in the booth, perfect headphones. Oh, they are perfect headphones. In the control room, I think they're terrible headphones. So the other day, I put out a video about the two headphones that you need for voiceover. There's the headphones that you wear in the booth, and there's the headphones that you wear when you're editing. So you might have your monitors, but you also would probably check your mixes and the decisions you make using studio headphones, especially if you don't have a perfect control room or a mixing room. You might be using studio headphones. And so when you're making decisions about how to change the audio you're going to deliver in your final product, you need to make decisions, educated decisions, based on the sound that you're hearing. And you might say, oh, this needs a little more treble, this needs a little bass, this sounds muddy, whatever it is. You'll be making decisions based on what you hear through your monitors, whether they're the speakers or they're your headphones. And I think for mixing and for mastering, you'll always check on headphones. And if you make decisions based on what you hear with the headphones, it's going to affect the final output. So what I'm trying to do with this series is give you the raw audio based on my voiceover setup, what I would deliver to a client, and then you'll hear what the client would hear if he's trying to mix or master with these headphones. And so in many cases, if you're new to voiceover, if you're working on your own YouTube, you're working on your own podcast, chances are you're going to be both the talent and the director and the producer and the mixer and the mastering. You're going to be doing all of those things. So you want to make the best possible decision based on what you're hearing through your monitors and through your headphones. So the reason I started with the MDR 7506 is because you see them literally everywhere. These are standard, if there's such a thing as standard headphones. You see them all over the place. You won't necessarily see them like in the highest end studios. They'll be using much more premium things in this. But I've seen sound engineers. I've been to studios where the engineers are wearing these. I've been recording commercials where the other person who's recording me is listening on these. I've listened on these when I've recorded in studios. And I think in the booth, they're great because they change the sound. And I love the way I sound through the MDR 7506s. When I hear myself, I'm like, oh yeah, my voice sounds so robust and crystal clear. And in point of fact, I don't actually sound like I'm ending up on disc. And as we go back and forth, you're hearing the raw audio and you're hearing what I'm hearing in the headphones. And you can hear there's a big difference. For me, there's a big difference between the raw audio as I'm recording it into my system and what I'm actually hearing in the headphones. I don't feel like the 7506s tell the truth at all. But when I'm in the booth, I love the way I sound through these headphones, right? Because I feel like it's got, it's practically got the compressor and all that good EQing curve on there that makes me sound really powerful. I love the way I sound through these headphones. But I don't think I can make truthful decisions based on what I'm hearing. You should hear it. For me, these things sound like the epitome of the disco smile. So an EQ curve that has got a lot of bass and a lot of treble. And the scoop out that mid-range. So it's really bassy. You get the EQ curve that's, I've always called it the disco smile. You might hear it called a U shape or a V shape. EQ curve where the bass is boosted and the treble's boosted, and you get this shape of the sliders on the equalizer. Anyway, so I feel like the 7506s really, really have that curve. So when I'm here in the booth and I'm just, you want to fall in love with the way your voice sounds, and in the booth with a combination of a great microphone and these headphones, you can sound great in the booth. But you hear it. Going back and forth in the control room, you have to know what these are doing. They're not telling you the truth. They're amping up that bass. And for me, these are the brightest headphones. The treble is so EQ'd up, is how it sounds to me. It's so EQ'd up that every other pair of headphones, if I A/B between these headphones and practically every other studio monitor headphones that I've got, these always sound bright. And by contrast, they make every other pair of headphones sound dull. When really, I think those other headphones are telling a story that's closer to the truth. Let's talk about the specs of the MDR 7506. In case you're interested, you might love the way that sounds. If you want to listen to music, yeah, especially if you like that U-shape, that disco smile. A lot of people do EQ their music to amp up that bass and to bring in a little bit more treble or to dip down that mid-range. A lot of people set their equalizers like that, and these headphones sort of do it for you. But so we'll go over the specs. These are dynamic headphones, as most headphones are. These are not plain errors, or like I say, they're just your standard dynamic headphones. They have the standard, pretty typical 40 millimeter diaphragm. I have the spec sheet down here. They're 63 ohms, which is the impedance rating. So it means they're going to be pretty good on your home interface, plugged into your home computer, plugged into your phone. Yeah, that should go plenty loud enough. They do have this, I hate it, this curly Q cord. I really am not a fan of curly Q cords for exactly this reason. I didn't do this on purpose, but they do tend to get tangled. It is not removable. It is not removable. They go loud. They can go loud. And this cord is 10 feet. So you're not going to plug these into your, if your phone still has a jack, or if you're using the dongle. I find these incredibly inconvenient. Maybe there's somebody who modifies these cords, but I'm not doing that. They are on ear. For me, they're on ear. My ear makes contact with this whole inside pad. So for me, they're on ear. They don't leak very much. I can't wear these for a long time. These do either take a long time to break in or they hurt. So these tend to make my ear hurt if I wear them for a long time. There's just a lot of clamping force. Now, you may be able to stretch them out. Wow, when I took them off, I can really hear the difference. Whew, that treble, it is so amped up. It is so amped up. When I took those headphones off, all of a sudden, my voice sounded like this. So you can stretch that headband out to try and reduce the clamping force. They're actually probably a year old, but I don't wear them a lot because they make my ears tired. I've just never gotten a chance to break them in. Yeah, but in the booth, when I'm listening to myself, like right now, I'm like, man, you sound good. Your voice sounds so good, Mike. But I couldn't master to the way these sound. I just couldn't do it. So as we've gone back and forth, you're hearing it recorded through the 3DO FS XLR binaural system, reduced to mono, and you're hearing my raw audio the way it would go through. Now, let's talk about what my raw audio is. This is my sort of one of my pro setups. So I happen to be using the Sennheiser MKH416 because I like, in this particular case, it's out of the way. I wanted you to be able to see this. This is one of the mics I use fairly frequently. It is going into a CLM Dynamics preamplifier definitely pro grade preamplifier, and record it in through Reaper. I then render that raw audio to a wave, and then I play it back through an objective DAC and an O2 objective amp running through a Mac that is placed on headphones right over top of these ears, and I clamp them on there nice and tight so that they're not leaking sound. So I'm trying to come up with the most neutral possible setup I can so that you get the truthful recording of the way the microphone sounds, so how the headphones sound in that recording. And that'll be sort of our standardized setup for all of these tests. And so that's how we're doing it. So you can make a decision, and you should hear it. The difference between my raw recorded audio and the way it's recorded through the headphones. You should hear. It doesn't sound. They don't sound the same at all. So you'd have to know and understand what the headphones are doing if you're going to make a decision on how to alter the sound to make sure it sounds good for everybody. And I think that's a tough one with the 7506s. I really, really think it's a tough one with the 7506s. I love them for talent in the booth because it makes them smile when they hear themselves. But for like mixing and making decisions after the fact, I think it's really challenging. What do you think? You think it'll work? You think you could use it? Like I said, the two pairs of headphones, there's two different scenarios. There's the ones you need when you're recording, and there's the ones you need when you're listening back and making editing decisions. And I think these are only good for half that equation for me. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. So now go get yourself a mic, get yourself a pair of cans, maybe ones with a little hype to them, but just get a microphone, any microphone, and get out there and record something amazing. Thanks. We'll talk to you next time.